The students laughed first. Then the teacher joined in. 16-year-old Malik Johnson stood at the front of the classroom, clutching his project made from old wires and scrap metal. The invention he swore would change how people think about clean energy. They thought it was a joke, but 6 months later, that same teacher would be on trial, accused of trying to destroy the very invention that made Malik famous. Malik wasn't the kind of kid people expected much from. He lived in the South Side, a neighborhood better known for sirens than scholarships. His mother, Tanya, worked 2 jobs. His father had been gone since he was 7. But Malik had something no one else could see. A gift for building things out of nothing. Broken fans, busted radios, old phone batteries. He'd turn them into gadgets that somehow worked. The kids called him MacGyver, but not always kindly. His dream? To design a low-cost solar converter for homes in poor communities, something that could power a single light bulb for hours, using only sunlight and scrap. When his science teacher, Mr. Harlan, announced the annual science fair, Malik saw his chance. He stayed up every night for weeks, soldering wires, testing voltages, even burning his fingers more times than he could count. By the day of the fair, he had built a small device that glowed faintly when light hit its surface, a crude but functional prototype. When it was his turn to present, Malik stood tall and said, "This isn't just a project, it's a start for people who can't afford power." The room was silent for a moment, then came the laugh. "Mr. Harlan's son," the teacher said, grinning, "you think that junk is gonna light up houses? You need a miracle, not science." The class burst out laughing. Malik's hands shook, but he didn't say a word. He just stared at his project and silently promised himself that one day the world would remember that moment. Weeks passed. Malik's grades slipped, his confidence cracked, but he never stopped building. One day, while scavenging behind an old electronics store, he met Dr. Reed, a retired engineer who'd worked in renewable energy. Reed saw the spark in Malik and offered to mentor him. They spent months refining the design, turning Malik's idea into something real. Soon, the invention was powerful enough to charge a phone and power a light bulb for 8 hours using nothing but recycled solar panels. When Dr. Reed entered Malik's invention into the National Science Prize for Youth Innovators, Malik didn't expect to win. He just wanted to be heard. But when his name was announced as the finalist, the town couldn't stop talking. Especially Mr. Harlan. The teacher started showing interest again, almost too much. He called Malik after class, smiling in a way that didn't reach his eyes. "I've been telling the principal, you're one of my brightest," he said. "Maybe let me help with your presentation. Make sure it's perfect." Something in his tone felt off, but Malik was young and hopeful. He agreed. The next day, when Malik arrived at school early to check on his project, it was gone. The solar converter, every piece, vanished from the lab. Malik panicked. He searched the trash bins, the supply room, the entire science wing. Nothing. When he told the principal, Mr. Harlan stepped in before he could finish. "Are you sure you didn't misplace it, Malik? You kids leave things everywhere." But then, 2 days later, a video surfaced, posted online. It showed Mr. Harlan demonstrating Malik's invention to another teacher, calling it his own experiment. The clip went viral in the local community. Malik's mom took it straight to the district board. By the time they called a hearing, the story had already reached the media. A teacher accused of stealing his black student's invention. The courtroom was packed. Mr. Harlan sat at the defense table, red-faced, but calm. He claimed Malik didn't have the technical understanding to create something like that. That he, as the teacher, had guided the idea from start to finish. But when Dr. Reed took the stand, the story changed. He produced blueprints, hand-drawn in Malik's messy scrawl, time-stamped months before Harlan's involvement. Then Malik spoke. His voice trembled, but his eyes didn't waver. "You told me I needed a miracle," he said softly. "Turns out, I only needed a chance." The courtroom erupted in murmurs. The judge pounded her gavel, demanding silence. Harlan's expression darkened, not with fear, but with rage. "You think this ends here?" he hissed, as deputies led him out. "You don't know what you've started, boy." 2 months later, Malik stood on a stage in Washington, D.C., as the winner of the National Science Prize for Youth Innovators. He held his trophy high while cameras flashed and reporters shouted his name. But in the crowd, one figure stood completely still. Dr. Reed saw him too, the silhouette of Mr. Harlan half hidden behind a column, watching. When Malik looked again, the man was gone. That night, Malik returned home to find his front door slightly open. Inside, his prototype, the award-winning device, sat on the kitchen table, still humming softly. Next to it was a small note, written in shaky handwriting. "You built this, but someone else wants it now." Malik looked around the room. His laptop was gone, and on the window, faintly scratched into the glass, were 3 words: "We found you." He stepped back, heart pounding. Then the lights flickered and went out. Last time, 16-year-old Malik Johnson went from being mocked by his teacher to winning the National Science Prize for inventing a solar-powered device made from scrap. But just when victory seemed certain, a chilling message appeared on his window: "We found you." And that was just the beginning. The house was silent. Only the hum of the solar converter filled the air, a sound that once gave Malik pride, but now made his chest tighten. He stood frozen in the dark, eyes darting between the flickering lights and the note on the table. "You built this, but someone else wants it now." Outside, a car engine revved, then faded into the distance. When the police arrived, there was no forced entry, no fingerprints, just the missing laptop and a faint smell of burnt plastic, like something had short-circuited. The officer's report was short. Likely a break-in attempt. No suspects. But Malik knew better. This wasn't random. Someone wanted his invention, and they were willing to break into his home to get it. Over the next week, strange things started happening. His email inbox flooded with anonymous messages: "Congratulations on your invention. We can help you take it global, but we'll need the source files." At first, Malik ignored them, but then one message stood out. It had a single attachment, a photo of his teacher, Mr. Harlan, sitting in a diner with 2 men in black suits. A timestamp, taken 2 nights after Harlan's release on bail. Dr. Reed took one look at the photo and frowned. "Those aren't educators, Malik. They're corporate investigators. I've seen them before." Malik blinked. "Corporate? From where?" "Energy companies," Reed muttered. "Ones that don't like cheap solutions cutting into their profits." The deeper they looked, the more things didn't add up. Dr. Reed traced the IP addresses of the emails. They all pointed to Solaris Corp, one of the largest private energy conglomerates in the country. The same company that had recently hired Mr. Harlan as a consultant. Malik couldn't believe it. The man who laughed at him, stole from him, and tried to ruin him was now working for the same company trying to claim his design. That night, Dr. Reed called an old contact, an investigative journalist named Layla Cruz. Layla agreed to meet them downtown to exchange information, but she never showed up. Her car was found abandoned near the river, doors open, engine still running. Inside the glove compartment was a single flash drive labeled MJ Project, Confidential. When Malik plugged in the drive, the files were encrypted, but one video played, grainy security footage, a dark lab, late at night, in the frame, a man wearing gloves, dismantling a device identical to Malik's solar converter. Then, the camera caught his face. Mr. Harlan. Behind him, a voice said, "We can replicate it, but the kid knows too much. Make sure he stays quiet." Harlan nodded once, then turned off the camera. Dr. Reed sat back in shock. "They're reverse engineering your design, Malik. They want to patent it before you can." Malik's fists clenched. All those nights of work, his mother's sacrifices, all being stolen again. This time by people who wore suits instead of sneers. The next morning, Malik decided to fight back. He leaked the footage anonymously online with one caption, "They tried to silence me. Now the world will hear the truth." Within hours, it went viral. Hashtag Justice for Malik trended nationwide. But with the fame came danger. A black SUV started appearing near Malik's house at night. Phone calls with no sound on the other end. Dr. Reed's workshop was broken into, his blueprints, his hard drives, gone. Then one evening, Malik got a call from a number he didn't recognize. "You've made powerful enemies, son," the voice said. "You can't protect what's already been taken." Determined, Malik went to the police with everything: the video, the emails, the break-ins. But the detective in charge, a man named Sergeant Kane, barely looked up from his paperwork. "Big corporations have big lawyers, kid. Unless you have undeniable proof, there's not much we can do." Malik stared at him. The same old story, power protecting power. That night, he told Dr. Reed he was done being a victim. "If they want to steal my invention, they'll have to do it in the open." He began building again, version 2 of his solar converter. Smarter, smaller, impossible to fake. But while Malik worked through the night, he didn't notice the dark sedan parked across the street. Inside, 2 men watched through tinted glass, one of them holding a phone. "He's still building," the driver said. "Good," the other replied, "because when he's done, we'll be ready." 3 days later, Malik arrived at Dr. Reed's workshop, but the door was wide open. The lights were off, the floor shattered glass, and on the wall, sprayed in red paint, were 3 chilling words: "Too late, genius." On the workbench sat Malik's newest prototype, burned to ashes. But just as he turned to leave, his phone buzzed. An email notification. Subject line, "If you want to save him, come alone." Attached was a blurry photo. Dr. Reed, tied to a chair, bruised but alive. Malik's blood ran cold. He stepped back, clutching his phone, and through the cracked window, he saw it. The same black SUV idling in the shadows. When power feels threatened, it doesn't fight fair. But courage isn't built in comfort. It's built in fire. Malik's invention might change the world, but the truth behind it might cost him everything. What's your thoughts on this? Comment below. Follow for part 2.